Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. My name is Megan, and if you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by because this is my weekly backyard garden tour and harvest where I share everything that's going on with the garden while we do some harvesting. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that I just posted my onion harvest video out of my green stalks and the rest of the onions that were in the wood beds. Plus, I also shared another video a week before about how I prune my tomato plants in my backyard garden. I don't have a specific method, but I do share everything that I do to keep them clean and healthy. All right, I don't want to waste any time because it is evening, we got the string lights on, and I cannot wait to show you. I have a cantaloupe growing and it's so fun to watch. By the way, that was my harvest from my green stalk garden tour, and I'm telling you, green stalks are so much fun to grow food in. Well, I do want to mention before we go on the other side and I show you the cantaloupe and the watermelon and the cherry tomatoes, I just pruned and cleaned a lot of my tomato plants because we had a lot of rain and a couple of storms, which was well needed because everything was so hot and I felt like I was watering every day for a week or two straight. But everything's nice and pruned. I do have a lot of green tomatoes growing, but nothing to harvest yet. Oh, and another thing that I did too is I pruned some of my basil because I did see some of them starting to flower just a little bit. So I always make sure that that gets pruned as well. Now, there's something I want to quickly point out. I know that this looks like a hot mess and it really is no fun to walk in, although I do love my Hessia boots, which, by the way, friends, I will always leave the discount code for these Hessia boots in my description. I love these boots and they stand behind their boots because it is a lifetime guarantee. When I had water coming through my boot, I did not realize that I wore out the sole of these boots and they sent me a free pair to replace them. These really truly are not only waterproof, but they are super comfortable. With that being said, because sometimes I'm like squirrel and I always change the subject very quickly, but with this being all muddy and messy, I will say I absolutely love how all of these grow bags are getting the water at the bottom here because of the way my land slopes in this direction. And I really do think that that is what's helping these plants to stay very healthy. Of course, soil, watering, nutrients is a big factor, but I think this helps a lot. Look at this gorgeous little cantaloupe. So this is the Athena F1 from Haas, and this is not the only fruit. I see a couple of others. This is the biggest one, but I do see a couple of others. Now, growing it here is newer for me, but cantaloupe seems to do really good in the grow bags, which is why I am growing it in the grow bags again. And I am just really impressed with how this is going. And I do think I'm going to get one more yellow squash and another zucchini. But what I did do is I planted another seed of the same variety in this bag as well as this bag so that I can have a continuous growth of squash. And then that blue Hubbard squash, it did its job. You know why? The vine borer got it. I had to rip that entire thing out that was all over the place, but I did plant another seed and hopefully we can have another one growing here. I'm just going to briefly show you everything here and then tell you what I've been dealing with as far as my pumpkin. So this one keeps getting hit with vine borers and I keep having to open up the vine, get it out, and then what I do is I will dig that part of the vine in the soil. So I'm not 100% how the Cinderella pumpkin is going to go, but I do plan to put another seed in this bag of the Cinderella pumpkin, as well as this one too, because this one also got hit. I'm trying to see what the variety is. I think this one is, no, that says dill. I know I have dill in here. I might have accidentally buried the tag because I keep burying the vines, but I think this is a Connecticut. I can't remember, but these two keep getting hit pretty bad. But I will say these two pumpkins are doing really good in this bag as well as this one. You can see, look how beautiful and healthy that one looks. So I don't know, maybe if those two down there are just getting hit constantly, and it means that these two thrive. I'm fine with that, but I was really hoping to grow Cinderella pumpkins, so I'm gonna keep adding seed and just see how it goes. And I also want to give you updates on the bags that are surrounding the large ones. I did say I was going to mostly put bushing green beans, and I did, and some of them already sprouted. They're looking fabulous. But I ended up putting in some flowers and companion plants in the other bags just because I have pumpkins, watermelons, and cantaloupe here. So I figured having some green beans and some companion plants was a better option. I don't want to forget to show you. So this watermelon is already growing on this trellis. I'm really hoping that having it in this spot is going to be a lot better than where I had it the previous year, but we will have to see how it goes. And then I'm loving the zinnias that are growing out of there because they're peeking through the stairway here. It's so cute and pretty. And then I do have some shallots as extra companion plants in here. So far, so good. We'll have to see how this goes. I'm also going to let a lot of my watermelons and anything vining, I'm going to try to let it go along the ground because I've had really good experience with doing that before. So we'll have to see how that goes too. And as far as these bags over here, I shared before my goal with these is to try some vining ones to go along the ground here, just to experiment and see. So far, one of them germinated. This is the Minnesota midget cantaloupe right there. Cutie pie. And then I'm just waiting for the other two. I believe I have a pumpkin. Let's see, what did I put? Actually that is a cantaloupe. Never mind. So I have a sangria watermelon and another cantaloupe. You know what I did notice the other day, and hopefully you can catch it here because every time I point my camera and the woods are back there, it doesn't show. I have elderberries. Yeah, I need to cut this off. I never share the elderberries back here. Look at, there's some there too. I really need to get these off because I'm sure the birds probably got at these already. But this is growing out of a grow bag. I do want to get it out of the grow bag. This is during the beginning years of my gardening. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I put it in a really big grow bag. I mean, hey, it's still alive. I mean, I've had it for a couple of years, but I do plan to take that out and put it somewhere else. And then these are the asparaguses that I had shared. I think the last garden tour I'd shared that I want to do some sort of an asparagus bed. So yeah, I got to get to it, but this is the asparagus in the bags. Now for my cherry tomato trellis. I absolutely am in love with this idea, and I am so glad that I came up with it. So far, it is doing so good. There are so many clusters of tomatoes everywhere, and I am so happy. So these down here are my currants, and I leave these here for snacking when I come out to the garden, but I do have a lot of cherry tomatoes that we do need to harvest. Look at how pretty that is. And I think we need to harvest these three. I know they're not fully like red, but I'm impatient. You know how I can be sometimes. And those are chocolate cherry. Oh my goodness, friends, look how beautiful that looks. I'm getting super excited, and everything looks really healthy. I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again if you're new here. I used to have 5-gallon grow bags with these cherry tomato plants in here, but these really large bags against this little accordion trellis that I have is doing so well. I'm going to continue to call this my island of cantaloupe because I have 6 really large grow bags tucked together, and then I have little grow bags on the sides. And I am really liking how this is looking so far. And I did see a couple of little, I think there's a couple of cantaloupes, like little ones. I can't find them right now, but so far they're looking really good, friends. I have a really good feeling we're going to be harvesting a lot of cantaloupes this year. At least that's my hope anyways. Everything's looking really healthy and looking really good. Oh, look at, I see a little baby one right here. Hold on. Do you see it? It's right there. Sweet, sweet little cantaloupe. And then I do have some odds and ends of grow bags. So these are 2 squashes. And then even back there, I'm experimenting with 1 cucumber in 1 bag, 2 in 1 bag. And then I do have my Martha F1 tomato plant, my favorite tomato. And then I have a couple of squash, an ashwagandha, and an eggplant that I'm just testing out in those bags right now. What I really want to show you are the peppers though. I think that's really what I want to focus on. I'm going to give you an update on the cucumbers because they're growing really good. And there's my beautiful comfrey. I love having comfrey growing here. And I don't know if I actually shared last time or the week before, but I did buy extra plants and stuck them in here. You can see I added some soil and some fresh straw because I want to say 2 of them died on me. So I added some in there. Look at that beautiful dahlia. I love growing dahlias, zinnias, sunflowers, snapdragons, some of my favorite flowers. I have this in one of my large pots. Not a lot. I think this is the first one that's actually sprouted. I have another one right here in the middle, and then there's one on the corner over there and the corner right here. I do want to focus on the pepper beds this time, but look at that gorgeous purple pepper. It is so pretty. But I do want to give you an update on these wood beds. Clearly, I have not filled them yet with green beans, but I do plan to. I was more focused on filling the bags over there at the other end of the garden and making sure that was completely done before I went ahead and did this. But you guys, look at how beautiful the cucumbers are growing. They've grown so much in the last week, and I do see a lot of little baby cucumbers. My favorite varieties are growing here. Piccolini and the Poniente F1. Those two are my favorite varieties. And an update on these tomato plants growing on the ground. They're doing fantastic. Look at this one. That's a tomato plant growing out of the ground. I mean, it's gotten really big. And I have a feeling, look at the tomatoes that are growing. Isn't that beautiful? We're gonna be harvesting from here too. And look at the sweet sunflowers. So that head is probably definitely done, and I'll probably take that down. And all of these sunflowers that are growing out of this bed, they are all volunteers. I actually still haven't planted my sunflower seeds, which I will definitely do that when I come and fill this bed up a little bit and plant the green beans. But I love having volunteers. It's like insurance for me. And then there's another one growing right here too. It didn't bloom yet, but it will. And I'm actually doing this video before the onion harvest, but we are going to be harvesting all of these onions in the wood beds. Look at all of these onions. Aren't they beautiful? They're definitely past their prime, but they're still good. Let's talk this pepper bed first, because the other one gets the evening sun just a little bit better. Now, I will say this particular bed, because of where it is, it actually does tilt a little bit. So I noticed, this happened last year too, and I'm noticing it again this year, is some of these pepper plants are kind of flopping forward. So I might have to put a couple of bamboo sticks in there just to keep them propped up. But I had to show this pepper to you. Look at how beautiful this purple is. Now, this is not a really big pepper. I think this is the purple, let me check. Never mind. This is actually, I thought it was like the purple sparkle. This is actually the Pippin's Golden. Look at how pretty this is. I have to harvest. This is really gorgeous. Oh, look, it's like two different colors. Maybe I should have waited to harvest that. I probably should have waited for it to turn purple. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to try it and see how it tastes. All right, now I'm going to say that I really do love the snapdragons. They are not overpowering like the Cosmos that I had last year, but I'm trying to see if there's any peppers to harvest, and I do see a Melrose Park pepper. I don't know if you've noticed, but I feel like almost every week I've been harvesting these. Here's a sweet chocolate. I'm not gonna harvest this yet. It needs a little bit more time, but so far this is growing very nice. And then look at, we have some more here. Look at this violet sparkle. This one looks so pretty. I'm definitely gonna grab this Jimmy Nardello because it's red enough for my liking. Oh, look at it, it's the mushroom red. I have to say, I really didn't think that I was gonna have any plants for this, because for whatever reason, when I started the seed, I didn't have a ton of the mushroom red plants. And they're some of my favorite peppers to grow. They're fun and they're super sweet. So I'm super excited right now because I didn't realize that I actually had one. I do have some bell peppers here, but definitely not ready to harvest yet. Look at how fluffy that snapdragon is. Isn't that pretty? What I'm actually liking is how they're cascading out of the bed and they're not in the way of the peppers. Now for the last bed that I want to focus on, and this is the other pepper bed, but I have to say I cannot get over what's growing out of this bed. So there's also a vine growing out of the other side. I have no idea what this is, but the interesting thing is it's a vining plant, like it's a watermelon or pumpkin or something. What's weird though is I've never had a vining plant planted in this bed. Like for instance, you know, sometimes like my tomatoes in the other beds over there, a tomato will fall in the soil and then they'll start growing the next year. I have a lot of volunteer plants, but I've never had a vining plant in this bed. So I have no idea what this is. And I'm just gonna let it continue to grow because I'm extremely interested to see what comes of it. With that being said though, I do want to harvest this Jimmy Nardello real quick. It's getting too dark for me to put my camera in there. Look at this beautiful Jimmy Nardello. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I just love this pepper. And there was another one. I do have a lot of bell peppers over here too, but they're just not ready to harvest yet. I found some more over here too. There's a lot. I think we're gonna be harvesting a lot all at one time maybe. And look, here's the other side where it's vining out of the other half of the bed. And here's this one. It is the strangest thing. I have no idea what it is. I want to know what's going to come of this. I really do. What do you know? We got another Melrose Park pepper. Look at all those peppers on there. This one so far, oh look, I just accidentally took that off. That's okay, I'll just take it. I'm gonna take this one off. Okay, I didn't mean to take that green one off. Sorry, buddy. You'll just have to ripen in the house. What I noticed is the way they grow up, which is kind of cool. But I'm seeing a lot of consistency with the Melrose Park pepper so far. Okay, I don't see any other peppers to harvest, but everything's looking absolutely gorgeous, very green. I'm very impressed with everything. I would say what I do need to do is get in here and start making sure that everything is supported well by putting some extra bamboo sticks in there if I need to. So I don't know. That's probably what I'll be doing later this week. My goal is to finish these 2 wood beds and then just keep up with everything in here as far as making sure everything's pruned, everything has support, because if something doesn't have support, it's just going to break and fall over on me, and I definitely don't want that to happen. I have not really given a lot of updates on the grapes, and I don't know about you, but have you seen any more Japanese beetles? Because I haven't. I think their cycle is about done. I'm hoping it is, because I don't see them. And I'm starting to see more growth, some more leaves that are regrowing because they attacked them really bad. But the grapes are still here, and I don't see them changing color. They're just green, but they look healthy. I'm keeping the bags on because I don't want the birds or anything to get to them. But I'm trying to be really patient, and I've never grown grapes before, so I don't really know what to expect. And so I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens with this. I always forget to share this because there's already so much going on with the garden, but they do look really healthy. And I believe this is the Concord grapes. Yes, I just had to recheck this. These I bought from Stark Brothers, which is the same company that I bought the apple dwarf trees from. I do plan to also get my avocado trees, and I'm hoping to get a dwarf peach tree. I shared that on my last garden tour of some of the things that I do want to get, but I don't know. I'm hoping that we could get some grapes here. I probably should look up when grape harvesting happens, like what season, because again, I'm still very new. I will say though that the pots that they're in, my hope is to get larger pots and have them in something a little bit bigger so that the roots have more space. And another update is my sweet potatoes. So I am trying them out again in these bags. I actually came over here the other day because I noticed something chewed the tops off. I mean, it looks like it was perfectly chopped off, so I have no idea what ate them. There's still a lot of leaves intact, but so far so good. They're looking healthy. I keep them watered, not too watered, but so far so good. And as far as these bags for potatoes, I am going to be doing a fall planting for sure because I have more potatoes in the garage that have sprouted. So I'm going to redo the bags back here as well as the green stalks on the driveway. All right, friends, well, it got dark on me, but you know, I just had the idea to come up to the upper deck. You can see the garden is down there and there's my string lights, but this end of the garden gets darker before that end because the sun sets on that end, but I got carried away talking about the grapes and the sweet potatoes that it then became too dark for me to show you the harvest and do my ending. I'm like, you know what? I got lights up here. Let me just come up here. So that's what we're going to do. With that being said, let's go ahead and see what we harvested today. So we got ourselves some gorgeous peppers. We got Jimmy Nardello. We got some Melrose Park peppers. Did get a couple of cherry tomatoes. But what I'm most excited about is I think I said this was the Violet Sparkle. Now, even though it's not purple, I'm still curious to know what it tastes like with this kind of color, with the red and the kind of yellow. So I'm just gonna experiment and see what it tastes like. I have plenty of time to grow some more, so I'm like, let me just see what it tastes like with this. So we're gonna try that one. And then I love the Pippin's Gold. Now, I should have kept it on there, but it's okay. You know what? I knew it growing this and I want to try to see how this tastes. I'll probably just actually leave this out and let this turn purple a little bit more and then try it. I'm not sure. Maybe, maybe not, but that's probably what I'm going to do. But this one seems like it's going to be a lot of fun to grow. And then I did end up getting some snapdragons along with a coneflower. And I don't know if I shared this before, but I'm actually growing coneflower that comes back every year, by the way, in a 1 gallon grow bag. I have 3 1-gallon grow bags that are tucked in between my large vases, and I purposely did that because I wanted them to get shaded so they wouldn't dry out as fast. Now they still get dried out, especially when it's super hot. So I try to keep them watered as much as I can, and so far they're doing really good. So I went ahead and grabbed one of these, and then these were the snapdragons that are growing in the pepper beds, and I shared before, but I really do like having them as companions. They flow out very pretty, they don't grow too tall, but I did go ahead and grab that white one I showed you. It was just too pretty not to. It's just, I want to have this in my kitchen. So I harvested the white one, and then this beautiful burgundy red color, I don't remember the name of it, but it is such a stunning color. And then this one's one of my favorites because this is actually seed that I have saved before. And a lot of the snapdragon seed that I saved was from my green stalks. So I actually have a lot of volunteer snapdragons that are on my driveway and in my green stalks. They actually grow in the crevice between my retaining wall and where the ground meets. It's very interesting. I even have a tomato plant, which I have to remember to show this to you because there is, just like the tomato plant I showed you at the ends of the beds over here down there earlier, it's growing just as big in a crack between the retaining wall and the ground, all cement. And it's actually growing on my little metal shelf, not little, it's pretty big, the metal shelving unit that I put my seedlings on outside. I have to remember to show you next week because I'm so impressed with how it's growing, and I'm so intrigued to see how it does and if we get a lot of tomatoes from it. So anyways, but I love these because these were some of the first snapdragon. I call it pink lemonade. I just love the colors of this, but they were the first ones I ever grew in my green stalks, and this is safe seed, so love this color. Well, friends, I am so glad that you all stopped by because I love to turn this camera on and show everything that's in the garden, and I'm loving doing the evening tours, especially when I have the string lights on. There's just something more slower and relaxed about being out here in the evening time. But I do hope you all are enjoying your summer gardens, and I also want you to know that I greatly appreciate every single one of you and always look forward to seeing you every week. And I also want you to remember this, friends. I want you to be encouraged, stay encouraged, and I want you to always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.